I'm Anthony F. Elmore, President and founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association, here to bring you another exciting Black Buddhist lecture. It is important that you have Black Buddhist teachers. It is Black History Month in America, and what is exciting about the month of February? The movie The Black Panther comes out. And why is the Black Panther important? It is important. That's why we have crowdfunding. People all over America are raising money so Black youth can go out and see the heroes in the Black Panther movie. Why is this important? Because the Black Panther does not reflect Africans or reflect Africans in regards to slavery. You see, we African Americans, many of us, our ancestors came from Africa. And all that we've seen of Africa is all the negative parts of Africa ruled by whites. Now, a recent anthropological study noted that light skin only came about 8,000 BC. So that means that human history, at least civilization, goes back 100,000 years. So actually, history is really Black history when you go back to ancient Black history, which brings us into the Buddhist teachings. Now, the Buddhist teachings was started in the area of India, which was once known as Eastern Ethiopia. Now, from Eastern Ethiopia came in a Black kingdom of people who called the Nagas, and this was called the Magadha Empire. From the Magadha Empire, you see, it was started by a Black man by the name of Sisu Naga. From Sisu Naga came the Magadha Empire, and these were only Black people. You see, ancient India, people left Africa. They were called the Kushites, and the Kushites migrated all over the world. And they set up in the area of India and Eastern Ethiopia a place called the Indus Valley Civilization or the Saravati River Civilization. And from that civilization came the Magadha Empire. First thing I want to show you a quick clip from the Black Panther movie. And the reason this is important because we must have Black teachers, Black people. We must see ourselves in the area as builders of civilization, people who are not relative to white or Asian. See, Buddhism only got to Asia 1,000 years after the death of the Buddha. Let's first of all look at a quick scene from the Black Panther movie, and we're going to come back and get into our lecture. Now, my lecture today is called The Strategy of the Lotus Sutra. We'll get into that. Let's watch a quick scene from the Black Panther movie. We're going to come back and get into our exciting Black Buddhist lecture.
Black Panther is a world leader. That's a responsibility that other superheroes don't commonly have. That he has to look out for an entire nation.
Soon, there will only be the conquered and the conquerors.
The Dora Milaje are women who pledged their lives to the throne and to the security of the kingdom. Wakanda forever! My character, Okoye, is the general of the armed forces as a whole.
Okoye represents the old guard and tradition, while my character, Nakia, challenges tradition.
You get to decide what kind of king you are going to be.
Nakia was born to be a warrior. She was born with a warrior spirit.
I got into a disagreement. Made a bit of a mess.
Training was very, very interesting. The Dora have a way of fighting that was supposed to be inspired by moving as one. The Dora work together to take down somebody, like the fight we have with Killmonger.
Step into the spotlight. action's there. It's not your typical film. It's raw. It's real.
Don't freeze.
I never freeze.
You saw a scene from the Black Panther movie. I officially began practicing Buddhism when I was only 18 years old in 1970. In 1974, I joined an organization called NSA, or Nichiren Shoshu of America. And when I first came to my first Buddhist meeting, I was told that whatever dream you got is too small, that through chanting Namu or Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you can attain your dreams. And I began to faithfully practice the Buddhist teachings, reciting the Lotus Sutra, and chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Now, this practice was started in 13th century Japan by a black Buddhist sage by the name of Nichiren Shonin. The word Nichiren means sun lotus, and Shonin means priest. Now, we had no idea that Nichiren was black, but when you study ancient Japanese history, you will find that the first people, or the originators of Japan, were the Jomon people. Now, there's a group of people in Japan called the Anu. They are the original people, or they were called the Chandelas. Now, Nichiren called himself from the family of Chandelas. Now, let's get off into our lecture. Now, in my own particular life, I would read a Gosho. The Gosho are letters that Nichiren wrote to his disciples. And there's a Gosho called the Strategy of the Lotus Sutra. I made a commitment in my life that I wanted to be the world karate kickboxing champion. And on May the 29th, 1982, I became the world karate kickboxing champion. But there's more to the story, because in this story, I had to read the Gosho with my life. And the Gosho that I know so well that I want to share with you is called the Strategy of the Lotus Sutra. Now, today, I have been practicing Buddhism for 48 years. And today I can give you a Black Buddhist lecture with my life in a language and culture that you can understand. Just a couple weeks ago, I watched the Super Bowl between the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, some of you may ask, what does the Super Bowl have to do with Buddhism? You see, the Super Bowl is Buddhism. You see, there's a Gosho called that gives the rice. And it gives us 4 points to understand about the Buddhist teachings. Now, the Gosho reads, the first point is, number 1, the Golden Light Sutra states, quote, to have a profound knowledge of this world is itself Buddhism. Second point, the Nirvana Sutra states, all of the non-Buddhist scriptures and writings in society are themselves Buddhist teachings and not non-Buddhist teachings. Third point, 6th volume of the Lotus Sutra reads, quote, no worldly affairs of life or work are ever contrary to the true reality. Fourth point, the 6th volume of the Lotus Sutra reads, the first 2 sutras are profound since their meaning is still shallow and fails to approach that of the Lotus Sutra. They relate to secular matters in terms of Buddhism, whereas the Lotus Sutra explains that in the end, secular matters are the entirety of Buddhism. Now, let us use the example of New England's quarterback, Tom Brady, and give you an explanation of Buddhism in real time with real life. You see, the Buddha Shakyamuni wrote in the Gosho that he left a precept, the Buddha left a precept, I think it's the Expedient Means and Lifespan chapter of Lotus Sutra, the Buddha left a precept that says Buddhism should be taught according to the customs of a region. So we who are African American, we teach Buddhism according to our culture, our history, and our language, just as the Buddha Shakyamuni taught. Now, again, my lecture today is called The Strategy of the Lotus Sutra. Now, in regards to this Gosho of Nichiren writing, I know this writing wholeheartedly from my life. See, as a 5-time world karate kickboxing champion, I had to use this Gosho with my life. See, myself being a fighter, the strategy of the Lotus Sutra was so near and dear to me because I had to go into the ring and I had to fight. And I want to use my real life Buddhist experience to encourage and teach others Buddhism. Now, the Gosho, the strategy of the Lotus Sutra, takes place in 13th century Japan. Now, please understand, the original people of Japan were black people, and Shinjo Kingo could have been a black person. There's a Japanese proverb that reads, in order to be a brave samurai, you must have a bit of black blood. Please understand that the first shogun of Japan was a black man. So, Dr. Francis Alexander Chamberlain, America's first anthropologist, made note of this. Even in Black History Month, Dr. Carter G. Woodson talked about the black general. So, all of this ties in to our Buddhist practice. Now, one thing that I can tell you, I want you to look at the picture of Nichiren Shonin, who writes in the Gosho, Letter from Sado and Vanishing to Sado, that he is a son of a Chandela. Our Japanese teachers do not teach us black Buddhist history. Please note that the foundation of the Buddhist platform in Japan in 756 AD was built on a black Buddha in the ancient Japanese capital of Nara, Japan. Now I want you to look and view a temple that's called Toda-ji Temple. Now this is a UNESCO site. Now UNESCO is an acronym for the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. You see, Nichiren Shonin wrote this letter to Shingo Kingo. Shingo Kingo was a brother. Now, this is what Nichiren writes to Shingo Kingo. See, Shingo Kingo got into a big fight and he survived unharmed. And Nichiren wrote, quote, I have carefully read your letter in which you describe the recent skirmish with powerful enemies. So they have finally attacked you. It is a matter of rejoicing that your usual prudence and courage, as well as your firm faith in the Lotus Sutra, enable you to survive unharmed, unquote. You see, Shinjo Kinjo got into a fight, and Nichiren explained that he survived because of his, quote, usual prudence and courage, as well as his firm faith in the Lotus Sutra. See, let's go back to Tom Brady. See, Tom Brady, New England's quarterback, this man is bad. He is a super quarterback. Now, there's no doubt that the Philadelphia Eagles, who won the Super Bowl, they won not because one is so much better than the other, but they won because of their good fortune and reward. See, Tom Brady has pulled win after win because of his good fortune and rewards. Now, this is what you must understand. It is humanly impossible to calculate the differences among human beings in most cases. In a sporting event, it's impossible to tell in a race oftentimes who is the winner. We have to look at a photo finish. Or in a basketball game, it comes down to one split second, one shocked. Even in the game between the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles, it came down to that last throw that Tom Brady. Now, if the receiver had caught that pass, Tom Brady would have been the most valuable player. Now, you see, Nichiren explains this way. He says, when one comes to the end of one's good fortune, no strategy whatsoever avails. When one's current rewards are exhausted, even one's retainer no longer follow one. You survive because you still have both good fortune and rewards. You see, we who practice Buddhism, whether you chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo or not, we have good fortune and rewards. You don't have to be, whether you Buddhist or not, you could wake up one day and have bad fortune, whether a tree fall, or you could be the people in Houston who have a flood, or you could live in California and have fires, or you could be an African American who run up against a racist police who shoot and kill you. So all of this, racism and all of the bad things that happen, is a matter of our bad fortune. Now, see, while Shinjo Kingyo had a case of good fortune rewards, Nichiren explained to his disciple, quote, he says, moreover, in the entrustment chapter, the heavenly gods and benevolent deities pledge to protect the votaries of the Lotus Sutra. Of all the guardian deities in heaven, it is the gods of the sun and moon who visibly protect us. How can we doubt their protection? You see, what is important for those who put faith in the Lotus Sutra? We should know that the entrustment chapter of the Lotus Sutra reads, quote, we will respectively carry out all those things just as the world honored one commanded. When you begin to take on the Buddhist faith and you chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, you awaken the help of the gods, and the gods vow to Shakyamuni Buddha that he would protect you because you are a votary of the Lotus Sutra. This is what our Buddhist faith do for us. You see, on May 29th, I was fighting, 1982, I was fighting for the world kickboxing title on ESPN. I could not even get, at the time, the Coca-Cola company to purchase an ad. They told me they didn't have money. They wouldn't support me. I ran up against all kind of racism, not because of what I had. Even though you can have a good product, I was a world champion, but the problem was in 1982 I was black, and they were not about to support a black person in the major corporations in Memphis. They were not going to do it, and I had a very hard time. Even before the fight, my lights got cut out. I was really had a hard struggle. But at the last minute of my fight, something happened. The Adolf Coors Company, or Coors Beer, came in at the last minute, and they gave me advertisement, and they gave me the support that I could not get from my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. Now, at the end of the fight, I did not, even though we had people at the fight, but I had to pay, and I was a promoter to fight, and I gave the guy who I fought, Oak Tree, was all the cash I got, but I had to write that man a check that was no good. But when I went to the Adolf Coors Company, and told them I could not cover the check, those people not only covered that check for me, they flew me out to Golden, Colorado, and I became the first African American in the history of Coors Beer to be honored with the personal service contract. Not only was I honored with a personal service contract and they flew me out to Golden, Colorado to the brewery, I was the first karate kickboxer in America, black or white, to get a personal service contract with a major American corporation. And Coors gave me something that many people in the world don't have. And that is, they gave me time. And I took the time I had, and I went and I took a typing class, and I wrote, produced, and starred in my own movie that premiered in 1988 called The Contemporary Gladiator, that played in Germany, it played in various places, and I had the opportunity to go to Nairobi, Kenya in 1990 and premiere my movie. Now, all of this happened, ladies and gentlemen, because of the good fortune and rewards. I will tell you that these things happen because of my firm faith in the Lotus Sutra. When you chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, you gain good fortune. You see, today in 2018, there is not a day that passes that people don't come up to me and say, "You are Anthony Elmore, the world karate kickboxing champion," in my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. Even though I have not fought in almost 2 decades, I am a hometown hero. You see me on a picture with Congressman Steve Coyne and the late Isaac Hayes. We were hometown heroes. You see, today, in 2018, while I'm a hero, you see, this is what the Gosho reads. It says, it is the heart that is important. No matter how earnestly Nichiren prays for you, if you lack faith, it will be like trying to set fire to wet tinder. Spur yourself to muster the power of faith. Regard your survival as wondrous. Employ the strategy of the Lotus Sutra before any other. All others who bear enmity or malice will be wiped out. These golden words will never prove false. The heart of strategy and swordsmanship derives from the mystic law. Have profound faith. A coward cannot have his prayers answered. Time and time again, I have run up against challenges that I did not have an answer for. But I used the strategy of the Lotus Sutra. And in your life, you can chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, and the gods will come out and protect you. What we need sometimes is not how smart we are, how skillful we are, but it's a matter of our good fortune. And through practicing the teachings of the Buddha Shakyamuni, his highest teachings called the Lotus Sutra, whereas we chant the words Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, you can change your life. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. I pray the Lotus Sutra way. I pray every day to do my best to practice peace and love and respect. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. I pray the Lotus Sutra way, devotion to the mystic law and cause and effect teaching. I believe and wisdom reaching. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. I pray the Lotus Sutra way. The Lotus Sutra makes a lot of sense. It's about self-development and enlightenment. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. I pray the Lotus Sutra way, the way that I pray, overcome my sins. I say the Lotus title again and again. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. I pray the Lotus Sutra way. The Lotus Sutra has the test. The Lotus Sutra brings me happiness. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. I pray the Lotus Sutra way. Falling in the Lotus Sutra, I start to sing. I sing so loud, I start to scream. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. And I pray the Lotus Sutra way. I don't pray like my Eastern brother. I pray and sing with my own culture. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. And I pray the Lotus Sutra way. I pray the way that I feel. I pray the black way and I start to squeal. Get down on my knees and I pray every day. And I pray the Lotus Sutra way. There's one thing you must know about me. I get like the church folk and I get happy. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. And I pray the Lotus Sutra way. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. And I pray and I pray. I pray. I pray. The Lotus, I pray. I pray. I pray. I pray. I pray. Knock your ring gate go. It's the way the rich combo go. Knock your ring gate go.